User documents and dynamic worksheets are incredibly powerful tools in QESTLab that allow system administrators to create their own tests utilizing Excel templates for data entry and calculations. There are 4 key stages to creating a custom test in QESTLab. Number 1. Preparing an Excel data entry template to perform the necessary calculations and checks. Number 2. Creating the user document in QESTLab. Number 3. Mapping the data flow between QESTLab and the Excel template. Number 4. Associating the Excel template with the user document. First, we need an Excel file that will allow the user to enter all the necessary data for the test, carry out the relevant calculations, and perform any checks desired. Many organizations already have Excel templates for entering data for tests that can be utilized here. In this video, we will be creating a user document for a particle size distribution test and using this Excel worksheet. To create the document, we navigate to the Document User node after logging into the QEST Administrator console. Right-clicking in this area of the console will allow us to add a new user document from the context menu. If the test we want to add is for a test type that does not exist in the QEST platform, a new table can be created to store the data by leaving the table as none. In this case, we are creating a particle size distribution test, so we select this from the list of existing tests. This allows our new test to share the same database table and structure as existing QESTLab tests of the same type. The document needs a name, caption, test method, and revision year, as well as a parent document so that it can fit within the QEST platform hierarchy. In this case, we are creating a soil and aggregate test, so we nominate the aggregate soil sample as the parent document. Saving the document will create the scaffold for the test within the QEST platform. The system will now recognize this new test and provide a place to store the data related to it. Since it is a new test, we will need to grant access to it for our regions and laboratories through the apping console, as well as access to users through roles or competencies. We now need to map the data flow between the Excel template and QEST platform objects. The first step is to extract the structure of our new test and its related documents. After creating the user document and restarting the QEST Administrator console to refresh its internal cache of tests, we navigate back to the user document node and find our new test. Right-clicking on it shows the Export to XSD action in the context menu. Clicking this action will show a dialog where we can select more tests to export. This is useful if custom tests must share results with other tests in the product. We do not need this more advanced functionality now, so we simply click OK. A file save dialog is shown and we provide a location for saving the XSD file. The second step in mapping the data flow between our Excel template and the QEST platform is to associate the exported XSD file with the Excel template and map fields appropriately. This process is made much simpler through the use of the QESTLab plugin for Excel, which is available from SpectraQuest. After installing the plugin, a QESTLab tab will be shown in Excel's ribbon. Clicking on this tab will allow the user to first associate an XSD file with the Excel template. In this case, we use the XSD file exported in the previous step. Once the XSD file is loaded, we can start to add or map fields to the template. When adding fields, we are shown the hierarchy of QEST platform objects related to the exported user document, starting at the user document and moving up the hierarchy to the sample and work order. Data can flow 2 ways between the QEST platform and our template, being imported to the template or exported from the template. First, we want to import a few key pieces of identifying information to the template, the sample ID and the material details. These fields are found at the sample level. We ensure that we are not mapping export fields and drag the sample ID field from the aggregate soil sample onto our template as an import field. This results in 2 things. A new data-only worksheet is added to the Excel file where the data will be transferred between the Excel file and the QEST platform, and a formula is inserted into the cell where the field was mapped, referencing a cell in the data-only sheet where the information will be present. After mapping the import fields, we begin mapping export fields. These will push data back into the QEST platform database from the Excel template. As a general rule, only fields required for reporting need to be mapped as export fields. In this case, these are the percentage passing values for each sieve as calculated by the spreadsheet. These need to be mapped to the appropriate fields on our user document, which represents our PSD test. The process for mapping export fields is similar to mapping import fields, except that the cell on the data-only sheet will reference the cell on the main worksheet instead of it being the other way around. SpectraQuest has references available on our support portal defining the most commonly used fields to help with the mapping process. After the data flow mapping is complete, the data-only sheet should be hidden to minimize chances of users modifying it. The template should also be protected. The mapped template is associated with the user document through the QEST Administrator console. In the User Documents node again, right-clicking on our user document and selecting Manage External Documents will bring up a dialog through which external documents like Excel templates can be associated with QEST Platform documents like tests. The new test will be automatically selected on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we click Add Document. This will allow us to upload our template and specify what it is. We will fill out the relevant details for the template. Importantly, this document is a dynamic worksheet, and the class needs to be set appropriately. We provide a descriptive name and finally upload our template. Our user document is now associated with our mapped template. We have created a user document, provided access to it for laboratories and users, mapped the data flow for our template and associated it with the user document, meaning it can now be used. The user document is added just like any other test in QESTLab. Since this test is a child of the aggregate and soil sample, we add it like any other aggregate or soil test. After adding a sample, we fill out the relevant sample details like material description and location. To enter data on the user document, we navigate to it and click the Excel button in the top right-hand corner, which opens the data entry template. When loaded, the template will show the values of the import fields that we mapped, such as the sample ID, client sample ID, and material. Data entry is completed on the Excel template, and results are calculated accordingly. Every instance of our user document will be added with its own copy of the Excel template that lives alongside it in the database. This way the data entered is always retained and can be reviewed as necessary. Once data entry is complete, we save the template, close it, and click the Re-Upload button next to the Excel button on the user document. This causes QESTLab to save the filled out Excel file to the database and extract the export fields into the appropriate fields in our data structure. Since this document acts like any other test, we can set the tested by and checked by flags on it from within QESTLab. It can also have billable items associated with it and be reported on native test reports. Since this is a PSD test, if an appropriate specification is set up in QESTLab for it, it can be reported on QESTLab's native aggregate soil test report, just like any other PSD test. Custom tests can be quickly and easily deployed in the QEST platform by system administrators using the power of user documents and dynamic worksheets. More advanced features are also available to allow reading of equipment items from the equipment register, sharing results between tests, and creating your own test reports using the external reporting functionality. To get more information on these and other features available, please contact SpectraQuest.